So, Kristen, I thought I would start today's episode with a joke based on the recipe's ingredients.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
It would have been, except the jokes that I found were so bad.
Oh, no, really?
Yeah, so this is the best one I found.
Okay.
What kind of vegetable do you need for a flat tire?
I don't know.
Asparagus.
Oh, that's awful and so cheesy.
Cheesy. That's a good one. Why didn't I think of that?
Welcome to Mom's Wooden Spoon, where the recipes are retro and so are your hosts.
You can say that again. Hello to you.
To me?
No, to our listeners.
Oh, hello, listeners.
Yes. If I may take just a quick second,
You
I
may.
wanted to jump off script really quick and
Oh.
wish my baby girl a happy birthday.
Oh,
I know I'm going to cry.
Oh,
It's tomorrow.
nice.
I know. I can't believe how grown up she's getting.
Wow.
And yeah, funny because I think this recipe is a great choice. This is the vegetable in our progressive dinner
That's right.
because while she hates most vegetables,
That's right.
the one in this one, oddly, is one of her favorites.
Whoa.
Yeah, I find it odd. So, like you'd expect the kids to like corn and potatoes. Those are kind of like
Right,
kids
yeah.
when you have a picky eater. No, my child likes
Yeah.
Brussels sprouts
That's right.
and asparagus.
Yeah.
Yes, and today's recipe from March 24th, 1980
Mhm.
is asparagus cheese casserole.
Wow, it sounds yummy.
I mean, who doesn't want that for their birthday?
Right.
Exactly.
Delicious. Better than a cake. Actually, speaking of asparagus and cakes.
Oh, why would we?
I don't know why we would, but I actually found a recipe for an asparagus cake.
What?
Yeah. So it's that cutie patootie B. Dylan Hollis. You remember he wrote the book. It's a retro cooking book called Baking Yesteryear.
He is a cutie patootie.
He is. He's all over social media. I
Yes.
first found him on TikTok. He does little snippets of the recipe, but I think he might cook full recipes on YouTube.
Yes, I have seen some of that. He is kind of like us
That's right.
in a cutie patootie form.
Yep.
And he shows people his face in his kitchen.
He does.
Mhm.
And he makes really weird retro recipes, and they turn out to be flippin' amazingly delicious.
Yes.
This asparagus cake did not. And even better, this recipe is from 1980, and so was the asparagus cake.
Wow.
Yeah, so I thought that was perfect. So in it, it had grated asparagus, vanilla, and orange zest.
Okay, so I have cooked baked goods
Yeah.
with grated zucchini in them.
Yeah.
And it makes them delicious and moist
Oh, very much.
and fabulous.
Like a zucchini bread or even a carrot cake. They have vegetables in them.
Yeah, but I mean, I've made chocolate muffins
Oh, I
with
see.
grated zucchini
Okay, yeah,
in them.
yeah, and it's delicious.
And you ate them.
I did? You trickster.
Yeah, I did. But they were delightful.
Yeah. But
Fabulous.
asparagus has a little bit of a stronger flavor than zucchini.
Yeah, and not the same texture that a zucchini
No.
had.
He said that the cake was really moist, but it tasted like the underside of a lawnmower.
Oh, earthy.
Yeah, grassy. Ew. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we did make a beet cake,
That's true.
which when you got a bite of beet was a little earthy.
It was just a tiny bit earthy. Yeah.
I mean, wow. Well, just to follow up, to circle back, I am not going to make that cake for my little girl's birthday, who's not that little anymore. She's
That's
a
right.
teenager, but
Yeah.
still. The other nice thing about this recipe,
Yeah.
it is cheesy asparagus.
Yep.
And if you've been listening along, you may think, oh, crap, they're bringing back the Velveeta. No. There is no Velveeta in this one, people.
Yahuda.
I know.
Yeah,
So-
sharp cheddar, I think.
It is. So I think that
Yeah.
that's a win.
I think it's a big win. So what's in this?
Yeah. So asparagus,
Yeah,
sharp cheddar.
that's right.
Uh-huh. Then there's hard-boiled egg.
6 hard-boiled eggs for 2 pounds of asparagus.
And 2 pounds of asparagus is not as much as you would think. Pimentos.
I mean, they put pimentos in everything in the 70s, and 1980 is basically the 70s.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, that just makes
We
perfect
always had a
sense.
jar of pimentos in the pantry.
We did.
Yeah.
You may be surprised to know that we did not have a jar of pimentos in our pantry. I had to go buy some.
Oh, I'm not surprised. Yeah, they're weird. They're something that we just don't really use.
No, do they really have a flavor is my question.
Well, I think they taste like peppers. I mean, they are peppers.
Uh-huh.
We'll have to taste one.
Okay.
Why don't you do it?
I will. Such a sucker.
Oh my gosh. And I was looking up 1980s asparagus.
Okay, so 1980s asparagus would be longer than
I didn't know what
Okay.
I'd find out, but I find it really fun when I'm researching for the podcast to just type in one of the ingredients in the recipe and then the year of the recipe.
Okay.
You never know what you're going to find.
Obviously.
Quite often I find really weird stuff like the dude who ate live frogs. Remember that one?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So in this one, I found that it had a list of the way most 1980 Americans like their asparagus.
Okay.
And they liked it really, really wide stems, really thick stems, and really almost overcooked.
Interesting.
And that's probably why I didn't like asparagus when I was younger.
No, I hated it when I was younger.
It's kind of woody when it's really thick like that.
Oh, so you have parlayed us, which my friend just mentioned. I said that word the other day, and she was like, "Ooh, that's a good one."
Yeah.
I said, "It's different than parfait." And she said, "I know, I prefer a parfait."
Me too.
So, but we're going to parlay into what I found about asparagus.
Oh, do tell.
Yes, because I really like asparagus. We roast it. It's delicious.
Ooh, yeah.
I like it kind of almost burnt, crunchy.
Yes.
Oh, so good. And we always buy the stick thin asparagus because I far prefer the texture over the thick asparagus.
Yes.
Okay. So I started looking up woody asparagus.
Oh.
Because I wanted to, I don't know, I just wanted some information about how young asparagus is far superior to the thick, old asparagus, whatever. And this is what I found regarding asparagus.
Yes.
Younger and thinner is really only good for supermodels.
What? Who said that?
I don't know. Someone who wrote an article about asparagus.
That's funny.
Yes. So what they were saying is that really the size has nothing to do with how woody it is.
Really?
If you are going to roast it or bake with it or pretty much do anything with it, thicker is always better.
Wow.
Hands down.
Yeah.
And they said it's not so much about whether it's thick or not, it's about whether it's fresh or not. So they told you what to look for. So I did when I picked these out.
Oh, I'm impressed. What do you look for?
So it said that you want to look to make sure that the tips are closed tight.
Okay, these definitely
they all are.
Nice.
And that the bottoms still look juicy. Now, I had a hard time with that because they were sitting upright in ice.
Oh,
so they all look juicy.
Right.
So now that we've rinsed them and dried them, I have no idea if the bottoms look juicy or not.
Well, they feel moist.
Okay.
I don't know that looks juicy, but.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what you're supposed to look for. And that's how you know that it's in its prime.
Oh, well, I definitely have seen all dried out bottoms before. I definitely noticed that. Yeah, and they look a different color. That's very bright green.
It is. And they kind of look like bamboo, I always think.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so these are juicy and closed tips.
Okay.
Then it says the other key is how you prepare your asparagus. I'm super excited about this. Like I told my husband, he cooks in our house. I told him last night, we can do thick asparagus, but you have to prepare it this one specific way.
Oh my gosh, do tell.
He rolled his eyes and looked back to the television and changed the channel.
And we're done.
He was not impressed at all. Okay, so I'm excited. I'm going to grab one. You grab one.
Yep.
These are the instructions.
Okay.
Hold the stalk with 2 hands at the middle and bottom of the stalk.
Got it.
Okay. And bend it until it snaps.
Okay.
Okay, we're trying.
Oh!
It says the exact right amount of the tough part will come off every single time.
I always cut mine.
Right. But see, look at our differences. Look how much you snapped off versus
my gosh,
I
so
snapped
they won't
off.
be all
They're not
uniform.
Right.
Interesting.
You're going to get rid of the thick part every single time.
That is so cool.
I think can you hear my...
Yeah, your agastedness.
I was so excited.
Your agastness?
It's like a whole new world of asparagus.
Oh my gosh, that's 2 more. Let's see. A whole new world. We're snapping asparagus one at a time.
Oh, and this one's horrible. Look at this one. The bottom's all white.
Oh, wow. Let's see how far that snaps.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to be so excited about this podcast now.
Look at it.
Oh my gosh. The one that was all white and bamboo-y at the bottom, it's probably a good 2.5 inches?
Yes. And so far it's been maybe an inch.
This one's 2.5 too. Wild, but you know what? They're snapping almost perfectly to fit in the steamer because in this recipe, you actually have to cook the asparagus first. It says cook it until barely tender and drain well. So I'm putting it in my good old microwave steamer from Tupperware.
I mean, this sucker is old. She has had this
at least since the 80s, I think.
This is so fun.
This is fun. Okay. Ooh, that was only about an inch.
Mine too. Oh, y'all, this is very satisfying.
Oh,
and obviously it takes longer than if you just lined them all up and cut them because you have to do it one by one by one.
Whoa, look at that one, 3 inches.
I mean, and look how gross that bottom was.
Wow. Okay, people are going to be like, please move on.
This was, we all do our little research about things. I found this and I'm like, yeah, I'm done. I'm going to look no further. I have found the most genius idea of all genius ideas.
Well, you know what? I don't necessarily know that this is any more time consuming because you just pick up and snap, pick up and snap.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's kind of satisfying, the snap. It's, like snapping green beans is kind of fun.
Yeah.
Well, I find that this is too. So, okay. So one other, the hallmark of asparagus, and I did tease this at the close of our last episode.
Oh, did you?
Is that asparagus is known to make your pee smell.
Oh, delightful. I avoided that topic, thinking that would be way too crass for our listeners.
She has, in fact, mentioned it about 4 times that I am exceedingly crass.
So gross.
Bringing this up. But I felt like it's an important part of asparagus.
Yeah.
So they don't know if everybody can smell it or if everybody's body processes it differently.
Oh,
right. So they don't know if people are stanking up the bathroom and they just don't notice it.
Oh,
right. So what you need to do is find someone that stanks it up.
Yes.
And they're aware.
Uh-huh.
And then eats asparagus together.
Yeah.
And then you go and send in your sniffer.
Oh, that's a delightful party trick right there.
I mean, that's a great bonding experience.
I love it.
Yes. You know what else makes your pee smell?
What?
Coffee.
Yes.
Yes.
So gross. No, it's true. At work, I go pee and be like, what? Why do I smell coffee?
I mean, and it smells just like coffee.
Like you just brewed a pot in the toilet.
And I think it's hilarious because if you have like a caramel nut frappe, then you smell like caramel nut coffee.
No, I have not smelled it like that.
Yes, the coffee smell changes depending on the type of coffee that
Please, listeners, if you have experienced your caramel nut frappe coming through in your urine, please let us know.
I feel like that's perfect. So then I was like, what else do I talk about? My husband is like, there are eggs in this recipe, right? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, farts.
Delightful.
I'm not doing it. He's like, but you have to if you're talking about smelly bathroom things.
Okay, so speaking of asparagus, we'll go back to asparagus.
Oh, I thought we were going to stick with the farts.
No, thank you.
I'm excited because you can say it on a podcast. Ready for farts?
Oh, good Lord. So I found this strange question on Reddit.
I do love
about asparagus.
Reddit.
And here's the question. People who quit drinking, what are the craziest asparagus recipes to really let loose on a Friday night? What does people who quit drinking have to do with asparagus recipes?
Is it a way to have a tasty cocktail without booze? What kind of cocktail would that be?
I don't get it.
That is odd.
A few people responded with,
why?
Yeah, what does this have to do with it? And then other few people were like, oh, I found this crazy asparagus recipe.
They're like, we don't care about the drinking part. We just love to talk about asparagus.
Yeah. Woohoo, asparagus.
Interesting.
Yes. So can we go back to boiled eggs but not talk about farts?
If we must.
Okay, cool. I noticed that in the 1980s when I was looking up, guess what I Googled?
Boiled egg.
In the 80s.
I love it.
Yep. Boiled eggs in the 80s. I noticed that people in the 80s loved their hard-boiled eggs. Because I swear to you that they used hard-boiled eggs in the 70s as well, in a lot of stuff.
Yes, and I haven't looked.
Oh, do you?
When was it that some health organization said eggs are full of cholesterol and bad for you? Because I think that was a turning point for eggs.
Oh, right.
I think eggs were seen as like a miracle food.
Yeah.
You've got protein, you've got all these wonderful things. And then somebody said, oh no, they're chock full of cholesterol, they're going to kill you.
Don't eat these.
Don't eat them. So then the popularity of eggs went down. And despite the fact that they've come back and said, nope, that was wrong.
Yeah.
It's good cholesterol. You want to eat them.
Right.
I just don't think they ever regained.
Interesting. So maybe it wasn't that eggs were everywhere in the 70s and 80s. It's that they're not everywhere now.
That's what I'm postulating. Is that
also,
yeah.
in the
Theorizing.
80s, yeah, theorizing.
Yes.
Also in the 80s, they made a lot of salads, like ham salad, bologna salad, tuna salads. That was definitely a regular ladies who lunch type of meal, right?
Right.
And in every salad, they would have chopped up hard-boiled eggs.
Yes.
Or at ladies who lunch would eat deviled eggs.
As you should.
Oh,
Both.
yeah.
Absolutely.
They're delicious. They were in potato salad. They had them on salad bars. I remember going to the Ponderosa salad bar and I'd dump some eggs on my salad.
To this day.
Yeah.
That is my preference. Your mother-in-law made my most favorite pasta salad, macaroni salad of all time because it had hard-boiled eggs in it.
That's right. She even decorated the top with sliced hard-boiled eggs.
Yes. They're just delicious.
Yep. Well, that's because we grew up with them and we didn't care about the cholesterol. Now, did we?
Well, it turns out you shouldn't. Okay, so as we're talking, Kristen has gotten the asparagus out, put it in the casserole dish, and is putting more in the steamer.
Yeah.
And I have a question. So as you very lovingly took it out and put it in the casserole dish, they're all facing the same direction.
Yes.
And I'm thinking to myself, do we want to do that? Because that means if you get a bite of casserole at this end, it's all the butt ends.
You know, and I had another question. It doesn't say to chop it, but this is going to be a weird casserole. You're going to get a whole chunk of a bunch of whole asparagus. It's not like a casserole where you just scoop a spoon and you're just going to...
Right. You wouldn't be able to.
But it doesn't say. I'm looking. It just says cook it and then drain well.
That's weird.
Let me see. Washed and trimmed. It doesn't say chopped.
That is wild.
Back to Carrie's idea, why don't we put the second pound going the opposite direction?
Okay.
Yeah, let me get this in the microwave.
Okay, so while she's doing that, I'll tell you what the recipe says. So obviously you cook the asparagus until barely tender. We did that. Then in a saucepan, we're going to melt butter, add in flour, salt, and pepper. Then we're going to put in some milk and thicken that. Great. We're going to take that off the heat and add in pimento. Then in our casserole dish, we are going to alternate layers of asparagus, egg, sauce, and cheese.
Whoa, so I shouldn't have the asparagus in the casserole dish yet.
So we're going to do some asparagus.
Should we chop it?
It just really seems like we should.
Although Mary doesn't say to chop the asparagus. What do you think we ought to do? It'll look a lot prettier if it's just spears, and maybe we can figure out how to serve it. It'll look beautiful.
I don't know how on earth you could serve it. Because you're not going to set yourself a slice going this way, in which case you'd get
I don't think it's going to be thick. I think it's going to be asparagus with cheese sauce. And I think you're going to take tongs and take out a bunch and put it on your plate, and then maybe a spoon and scoop a little more of the cheese sauce on top of it.
Well, if it's that, then spears make sense.
Let's give it a try.
All right. You heard it here, people. If it doesn't work, guess whose fault it is?
All Carrie's. Could you pour 2 cups of milk for me? Because I'm making the roux here, and 1 tablespoon of butter for an entire 1/4 cup of flour does not make a really good roux. It's very clumpy and powdery.
Oh, weird.
So I'm afraid it'll burn before I get the milk in.
Yeah. Kristen has been slaving away at the stove, trying to make a roux, struggling mightily.
It's an epic failure, really, because as I said before, it's not enough butter for a 1/4 cup of flour. It was 1 tablespoon for a 1/4 cup of flour. And read the directions again, Carrie. What did it say? Were you supposed to add the flour to the butter?
Yeah. So I'm reading this to take any stress of failure off of Kristen, because it very clearly says melt the butter in the saucepan, blend in flour, salt, and pepper. But she's right. You're taking a tablespoon of butter and you're trying to blend in quite a bit of flour, and a 1/4 cup of flour, and it just lumped.
It did. And then when I added the milk, I couldn't get it mixed in. It was these congealed blobs.
Right.
And so we very quickly... I've cut this. Obviously, you won't be hearing all this.
Well, it's mostly because of the words that she said during this time.
It is true. I let a few bombs go, didn't I?
She cut out the multiple swear words being thrown around the Mom's Wooden Spoon kitchen.
So we grabbed a strainer, I poured the sauce through the strainer into a bowl and then attempted to use a spatula to mash the lumps down through. But take a look at this sauce. It is perfectly thick. It's perfectly beautiful. I wonder if it's one of Mary's typos.
It really seems like it has to be.
I think she made a mistake doing the quarter cup. I think a tablespoon would have worked just fine.
Well, that's what we're going with.
Because it certainly wasn't my fault.
No, but the one thing that we are clear on is that Kristen did everything right.
Yeah.
Yes, other than the swear words that we had to cut.
I did cut those.
So now it is time to add the pimento to the sauce. But as promised, we are going to taste the pimento. I got 2 here, so we can each try one with our dirty fingers.
They're itty bitty little pieces. I wonder if we'll be able to taste it. Carrie's taking a little sample first. Does it taste like anything?
Yeah, not much.
Oh yeah,
it's a very,
it tastes like a bell pepper.
It does, but a very mild. I mean, they're red bell peppers, obviously, which I think the red ones are more mild.
Yeah, it definitely tastes like a pepper, and it has a little citrusy almost flavor to it.
It does,
redness.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'll look pretty in here. So let me bring the sauce over.
Okay.
It's pretty thick, so I think that a little bit of the liquid that comes with the pimentos will be okay, but Carrie's trying to not get too much in there.
All right, 1 tablespoon.
All right. Oh, it's so pretty.
I mean, I think that's ultimately why the 70s loved their pimento.
Oh, it's just so pretty. And chopped egg gives that yellow of the yolk. It's really a nice look.
Adds a little color, I think.
Yeah. Oh, that's a gorgeous little sauce there.
She sounds just like a chef.
Do I?
Yeah, had your inner Gordon Ramsay going. And then a beautiful sauce.
Yeah.
Because he never just makes sauces. They're always beautiful.
All right, donkey. Get going. He calls people donkeys.
Does he really?
Yeah.
Apparently, I don't see that part.
Get a move on, donkey. I don't know that he necessarily says it like Shrek. Donkey.
No, probably not.
Probably not.
What you gonna do?
Oh my gosh! So now we have to chop 6 eggs.
Yes.
And I have again my handy dandy harp cutter.
Yes, because it doesn't say chop; it says slice.
What? Wait a minute.
Eggs sliced.
Oh my gosh, we don't need. Oh yeah, this is slice them.
It's a
Good
slicer.
Lord,
it's not a chopper; it's a slicer.
It's a chopper slicer if you want to. So now I think we're ready to assemble.
We are.
Avengers, assemble!
Oh, you're
Moms with a spoon, assemble!
You're such a nerd.
I know, right?
But she did put her arm up in Captain America fashion. She totally looked like Black Widow for sure.
Oh my gosh, I do, don't I?
Yeah.
I'm so tough.
So Scarlett Johansson.
I totally missed about the sliced egg part. I thought it was going to be chopped egg faux show.
No, sliced. Okay, so now we are going to layer. We're going to start with the asparagus.
Okay.
And then we're going to put egg slices, then some sauce, and then some cheese.
Okay.
And then do it again. And we've already discussed we're going to alternate.
Did we decide to alternate?
I think the asparagus.
I don't know that we... Well, okay. We can do that.
I'd say just to be careful. It's not going to hurt anything.
All right.
Is
that a layer?
I think you need to do more.
Okay.
Look at all of this. Like building a raft.
Yeah, we're going to build an asparagus raft.
That's exactly it.
Okay.
So that way the sauce will stop at our asparagus
and it won't go to the bottom. We've
made
a couple of things where the sauce just was all at the bottom. Remember that cherry bread pudding?
Okay,
so now we're going to...
more right there.
Oh my goodness. Let's see if I can find a short one. There. Oh my goodness. It's gorgeous.
It's perfect.
Oh my gosh. I wonder how many total eggs it's going to take per layer.
Well, that was 1 egg.
Okay. So maybe 1.5?
Yeah, let's do 1.5.
Per layer.
And we've got 6. So that'll give, oh gosh, that's math.
Boy, I don't know how this is going to turn out. Okay. So.
No. Sauce and cheese.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, let me keep Kristen on track here, people. She's messing it all up. She keeps blaming poor Mary.
Poor Mary. Boy, it's difficult to know how much of each item. I think this is going to be too much asparagus for this container.
I don't know.
And I think we're going to run out of sauce.
Well, I guess we'll just find out, won't we?
Well, you know what I think we ought to do?
No.
I think we ought to do this layering off of the podcast time.
What?
And come back when we're done putting asparagus in the pan.
I think we need to keep going because I have a story to tell.
Okay.
From the 80s.
All right.
This is what you want to talk about while you're preparing to eat.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So I found wacky news from the 80s.
Oh, I love wacky news.
Yes. And the title of this is Leonardo da Toenail.
What?
Yes, because again, people love to talk about toenails when preparing to eat.
Toenails? Ew.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, so here's the story. You ready?
Yeah.
In March of 1980, which is exactly when this recipe
Oh my
came
gosh,
out.
that's right.
Super excited. There were multiple female students
Yes.
at Southern California University. So multiple Southern California universities
Yes.
that were complaining that someone had surreptitiously
Whoa.
painted their toenails as they were studying in the library.
Oh.
So this begs a lot of questions.
Yeah.
First off, were they not wearing shoes in the library?
Right. Yeah.
I don't know, but the police dubbed the perpetrator Leonardo da Toenail.
I love that.
They did eventually nab a suspect.
Whoa.
Carrying 15 bottles of fingernail polish.
What?
But they had to let him go because he obviously denied and they had not caught him in the act.
There was a phantom toenail painter?
Multiple female students complained that while in the library,
Oh my gosh.
Leonardo da Toenail had beautifully designed some toenail art for them.
And they just didn't notice.
I don't know. Dude had a gift.
Apparently
Can you imagine
so.
he's crawling under tables to get to these.
How would somebody not notice that? But anyway.
So many questions.
Yeah.
Okay, but Leonardo was unable to stop himself.
Oh.
Even after being caught, he had to do it again.
Oh my goodness.
And so the next year, he got caught again. He was ordered to attend a hearing, but he never showed. And I don't know if they didn't get his name or what, but he was never seen again.
Didn't get his name. He just ran away.
I guess. But they caught him once. So how did they not? I don't know. Leonardo da Toenail lived a free life of toenail painting surreptitiously.
Oh, that's funny.
Is that not the funniest thing ever? Does that not make you want to eat some asparagus?
Yeah, toenails all the way, baby. Yeah. Well, how about you do the next layer and I will tell you an article I found.
Let's do that. And I think we're going to have 2 more layers.
I think we are.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it fits. We may have to mash down with the asparagus, you know? Sure. Okay, so Carrie's going next. I think the heads go on that side this time.
Yes.
Perfect. So we are doing the flip-flop, the head's on one side, and then the next layer, the head's on the other.
Yes.
That sounds yummy. Cool. Well, I found an article called 21 Facts About Life in the 80s that will seriously surprise young people.
Do you sing it? The facts of life. The facts of life.
No. I did not write down all 21. Okay, here's one that young kids would be blown away by, one fact.
Okay.
And that is that teachers and principals could actually spank badly behaving students.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, our dad was an elementary school principal, and he had a paddle hanging in the back room.
The paddle was a thing.
So here's another thing. Since there was no caller ID, tons of crank calling went on.
Oh my gosh, crank calling was just a delightful part of life.
It was. I was always so nervous.
Oh, that they were going to know who you were.
Yeah, I'd get in trouble.
Yes, our dad would get mad at us.
Oh, that would be awful.
Uh-huh.
Okay, here's another one, and this was definitely 80s, not 70s. Classrooms often had a single desktop computer, and you and your partner had an assigned time each week where you could use it. And then early on, the monitor had a black background with either white, green, or amber writing, and that's basically it.
That doesn't sound familiar.
Well, yeah, the Oregon Trail. It was all just...
You're right, green on black.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, how about this? There were payphones everywhere.
Oh, heck yeah, there were.
Yep.
I'd still find it odd that there aren't.
I know, right?
Yeah, and you can see the old, what used to be a payphone.
It's funny, isn't it?
I mean, you think Clark Kent,
what is he going to do?
How does he change now?
I don't get it.
Does he just spin like Wonder Woman?
I know. Spins like Wonder Woman.
Does he have to find a public restroom? Does he have to purchase a soda so that they'll allow him into the public restroom?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's put in our final layer of egg.
And this
it's going to be perfect.
This is barely going to fit in this pan.
We might want to put it on a cookie sheet in case it boils over.
I think we very much want to.
Okay, this is the layer that should be the prettiest, and the cream sauce has gotten kind of gloopy.
It is so thick now from sitting there.
At least there'll be cheese on the top.
Yes.
And that'll look
and
pretty.
I think we saved quite a
lot
bit.
of cheese.
Yeah. Because Kristen was real stingy with the previous layers of cheese.
I was a stingy lady.
She
All right,
was.
so let me tell you a few more of these 21 facts.
Yeah. Let's hear 'em.
How about the TV just going off at like midnight? No more shows.
Do you remember? I think we've talked about this. The American flag would come up.
Yeah, just nothing.
Yes.
All done.
Yep.
You're done. Go to bed.
Yeah. I remember the first time that happened to me. I was
You were like, I stayed up late enough to have the flag come on.
That was wild.
That's pretty cool. How about that you had to use maps to get everywhere?
Oh my gosh. And so people can't read maps anymore.
No.
Gosh, do you remember going to MapQuest and having to print them out?
And take them with you in the car.
Yes. And then you'd save them in your glove box.
So funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is so true.
Yep. Okay. And another one is cigarette vending machines being everywhere.
I do recall that.
I remember going to visit my friend in her apartment complex, and they had a cigarette vending machine right there in the lobby.
I'll be darned.
Yeah, I bought some.
I remember going to Big Boy. And they had a cigarette vending machine where you'd wait to be seated.
Oh yeah. I got to get your ciggies for after your meal.
Yes.
Right. And
coffee.
And then finally, the last one: calling the time and temperature.
Oh, that was the best. Do you remember the number?
No.
Oh gosh, I thought I did. It was 782.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was like 7474.
Oh, right.
That's
something.
Funny. Nope, I don't remember. That's disappointing.
It is.
But another 80s thing, you had to know all the phone numbers.
That's right. I mean, you had the yellow pages and the white pages.
Well, sure, but you just knew the people.
They weren't your phone to use, right?
Right.
I had the funniest thing happen to me recently because
I was just going to say.
Let's let you do the cheese because it's so loud. Carrie's going to put the rest of the cheese, and then I'll tell you my funny phone story. I think that's perfect.
Remove those rando slices.
Ooh, that's lovely.
Oh, I think it looks pretty. I should have been taking pictures for every layer, and I failed.
Right. All right. Take a picture now.
Yes, it looks really nice. And that sauce is far thicker than I expected it to be.
I probably shouldn't have gotten it that thick, but I'm also thinking with the asparagus letting off some juice, maybe that'll be a good thing.
Well, I'm curious if we should have cut the asparagus.
We shall see.
We'll find out. I mean,
interesting.
I guess this is what happens when you're making something for the first time.
Yeah.
You run into these, what the heck do you do?
That's
kind of thing. And so then we're going to put it in the oven for rando time till bubbly. All right. You want to throw it in the oven, Kristen?
Sure. I'll toss it in the oven and then I'll tell you my funny phone story.
Yes. It's a good one. I've heard it and I feel like it's worthy of a mention.
Okay. So we have that in at 350 for an unknown amount of time.
Yes, bubbly time.
Yeah, bubbly time. Mm-hmm. So our friends came over to play cards.
Yep.
And I put my phone on the kitchen counter. I didn't want to have it on the table and be rude, but I wanted, if my son called me from college, I could just quickly look and give him a text, hey, I'm not available. And so after they left, we're cleaning up and I couldn't find my phone. And I'm looking everywhere. I thought, gosh, I thought for sure I put that on the counter. I couldn't find it. I mean, we searched for 15, 20 minutes looking for that daggone phone.
Right.
All the way over the house. And finally I realized maybe my friend Cheryl picked it up.
Why would Cheryl do that?
Right. But then that was the only option.
Yeah.
And so I thought, I'll call Cheryl on my husband's phone. I can't call Cheryl on my husband's phone because I don't know Cheryl's number. It's in my phone. He doesn't have Cheryl's number. So I thought, we'll call her husband, Steve. My husband doesn't have Steve's number. I don't even have Steve's number. So I thought, what the heck? Maybe I'll call our friend Stephanie and she'll have, my husband doesn't have Stephanie's number. It wasn't in his phone. So I got on social media and messaged her on Facebook Messenger, on Instagram, on everything. Hey, I think you may have taken the phone. And my husband kept calling my phone over and over and over. And finally, after they arrived home, her purse was buzzing, yet her phone was in her hand. She's like, why is my purse buzzing? Because, of course, I had the ringer off.
Right.
And that's when she called my husband back and was like, I accidentally took Kristen's phone. That was funny. But what a predicament to be in.
Right. This is why everyone needs to have the people they love on their Life 360. You can spy on them. Yes. You can follow their every movement.
Yeah.
And you can message them.
Totally.
Boom. You just need to stalk your friend.
I do. I would like it because then I'd know when they were almost at the house.
Mm-hmm. It is nice.
Well, we're going to take a break now and see how long it takes for that thing to get bubbly. We'll come back and let you know. And then we'll try some asparagus cheese casserole.
I'm kind of excited. I like asparagus and I like eggs and cheese. I mean, what is there not to like? Unless it gets all liquidy and goopy. And then maybe, no.
I don't know. I think I thickened the sauce too much. Again, I think it was too much flour. But you know what? Quit the griping. We shall see.
Yeah, quit blaming poor Mary.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Mare.
Back off, Kristen. We have asparagus cheese casserole.
Yahoo!
We got it out of the oven. Mm-hmm. We got a little nervous that it was never going to bubble because the sauce was so thick. Mm-hmm. I want to say it took about 35 minutes.
Maybe 40, 45.
Okay.
But yeah, I checked it. And then 10 minutes later, I checked it again and it was then bubbling. I was shocked.
Yeah, it's perfect. And we also forgot to put the breadcrumbs on the top.
Totally.
So that was a late addition.
Yeah.
But it looks quite tasty.
It does.
Oh, and during our time sitting waiting for this thing to bake, we did look up asparagus cheese recipes.
Yeah.
Which apparently I didn't do this time because there's not really another one of these recipes out there. I was surprised.
There were none with egg slices.
No, not at all. But we did find one in which they made a roux and they used 5 tablespoons of butter and a quarter cup of flour.
That's a lot different.
Very different. So we think the typo was in the butter.
Yep.
And not the flour.
I agree. I thought this was going to be easy to get out with 2 spoons. This is a bear.
It is.
Okay, here we go.
Okay. It looks quite appetizing.
It's lovely, really.
I'm not sure if the sticks are better or if we'd have cut it would have been better.
I'm not sure. I mean, it sure looks pretty this way. I think it would be a heck of a lot easier to serve with the chopped up asparagus.
I think you're right.
But then I don't know that the egg slices would lay as nicely on the top of each layer. But when you're dishing it up, the egg slices slide all over the place.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So do you want to taste it first?
Sure. I think we're going to cut a little bit.
I got you a knife to cut a little bit off. Okay, so while Carrie takes her bite, I want to tell you all something hilarious and weird that I found out about a 1980s movie.
Oh, okay.
The movie is one of my favorites, Dirty Dancing.
As you know, before you even said what the movie was, I was going to scream Dirty Dancing.
Did you all know that Dr. Ruth Westheimer was supposed to be in Dirty Dancing?
What?
I know, right? She actually was really good friends with the person who wrote the movie, and the person wanted to cast her. But when Dr. Ruth found out that this particular character was a thief, she said no.
Oh.
She can talk about sex on TV all the time, but you make her a thief, no way. What do you think, Carrie? How does it taste?
You know, my first thought was it needs salt.
Oh, you know what? I'm not surprised. It only had a teaspoon of salt for 2 pounds of asparagus. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to take a bite and then I'll get the salt shaker.
The breadcrumbs on the top are a little salty.
Okay.
And so that adds a nice little flavor. But as you get down into the lower layers without the breadcrumbs, I think you need a little salt. The asparagus, a lovely texture. I think it tastes really good. It's not too cheesy. The egg, I thought, added a nice little flavor. It is mild flavors for sure. Mm-hmm. But the asparagus is kind of the highlight of the dish, which it should be.
That's pretty good.
It is pretty good, but it needs salt. Mm-hmm. Maybe some pepper.
Yeah, I was going to say a little cracked pepper.
Yeah, let's give it a try. We'll go to round 2. I am happy to eat another bite of this.
Me too. It is not gross.
Not even a little bit.
While this is not an asparagus birthday cake for your daughter.
I mean, they can't all be winners.
I know. She might enjoy this. And now I'm going to use what our dad got us for Christmas, the delightful self-grinding salt and pepper shakers.
He was so excited about these.
Here we go. How cool is that?
Aren't they great? And the funniest thing is we had just been at my mother-in-law's house and she had gotten some and she was so excited about them.
They're just so flippin' fun, except for sometimes I forget to take the cap off. and then you take the cap off and tons of pepper or salt goes flying.
Right.
But
okay.
That's so my own fault.
I'm going to go to bite number 2.
Okay. I'm going to cut off another little bite. I like the egg flavor in it. It's so different. How's the salt and pepper on it?
I would dare say even a little more salt. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's delicious.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it might be easiest is obviously you could add more salt into the sauce, put the layer of asparagus down and salt it.
Yeah, maybe.
But then once you got the egg and everything else.
But you know what? This is perfectly fine, and then people could salt their own.
That's true. But it definitely needs salt.
It definitely does. And that little bit of cracked pepper on the top really perked it up.
It did.
It called for 1/8 of a teaspoon of pepper. How typically 1970s, 80s recipe.
Yeah.
Such a tiniest bit that we wouldn't even consider that today.
No. Well, you don't even taste it.
No.
So I'd say you could absolutely spice up the sauce.
I'm going to add more.
Please do. Because I enjoy that. I'll eat that thing for lunch.
This is good.
If you hate asparagus, this is not the meal for you.
No.
Because asparagus is absolutely highlighted in this dish. But I could not agree more. That egg adds such a unique...
And it's just so weird, isn't it? It's just so weird to add eggs with your asparagus.
Yeah, I would give it a 2 thumbs up. Maybe a thumb and a half. 2 thumbs if you salted it.
That's true. I was going in for another bite. I feel like I did when we made those different mashed potatoes with the spinach and the mashed potato. Remember how I couldn't keep my finger out of it?
Yes.
I just want to keep going in for bites.
Yeah, I'm excited. So Kristen and I have not had lunch yet.
And it's right.
Lunchtime for us.
Yeah.
And so this is really kind of hitting the spot, I think, for us both.
It is. You know what would be delicious? If you went ahead and chopped up that asparagus and added some pre-cooked chicken breast. Like get a rotisserie chicken, toss some chicken in there. That would be a full meal.
Oh, that's a great idea. You'd have to get a bigger casserole dish because it just fits.
And we tried to press down on the asparagus layer and it wouldn't go nowhere.
No, but it was a good, what did we end up with? 4 layers.
Yeah.
And about 35, 40 minutes in the oven.
Yep.
It's a pretty versatile, tasty dish.
I mean, the egg gives some protein, but I think if you toss some nice chicken, chunked up chicken breast in there, that would make a full meal for your family.
It would be a real casserole. That's comfort food right there.
It is.
Absolutely. All right. Well, on that note, that is it for this episode. As always, thank you for being with us in the kitchen. Our next episode is on April 21st, and it will be using one of my favorite pantry staples.
Ooh.
Yes, Kristen likes this pantry staple so much that she currently has in her pantry now, not 1 box, not 2, but 3 boxes. She really has just overdone it.
I did. It was BOGO. It's not my fault. It was a BOGO sale.
So we'll let you know what that is next week, and maybe there'll be a BOGO ready for you too.
Ooh, see you later.
Bye. Thanks for listening to Mom's Wooden Spoon. If you like what you heard, don't forget to subscribe. If you want a copy of this recipe or to see the pictures and other items from this episode, go to our website, momswoodenspoon.com. If you'd rather, check us out on Facebook or Instagram. Pick your poison.
Don't say poison. We're making food.
Those eggs smell like sulfur or farts.
Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba. Ba-da-da-da-da.
I really want to talk about farts for this one.
Oh, well, it's the P that's the bad part.
I know.